This is a Hurricane Irma update, 11 o'clock. We have the newest update as to where the storm is and what it's doing right now. I've Gall to Zieperman Lotan. I have Annie Martin here with me to talk about the storm and its conditions. Let's go ahead, Gall. Where's the storm at right now, and what category is it right now?
So the storm is a tropical storm right now. So it's officially been downgraded from a hurricane.
Okay.
It is still in Florida, about 70 miles east of Tallahassee. The worst part passed us overnight, and it's sort of going to pass through the north part of Florida and then go up into Georgia, Alabama, and then sort of dissipate likely somewhere over Tennessee, possibly.
Okay, so the storm is breaking up. And in fact, last night it seemed to break up pretty quickly once it started working its way into Central Florida area.
Exactly. Once it started passing over land and no longer over the ocean, it started losing some of its power, though it was still, because it came in so strong and so powerful, it was still a very strong storm.
Yeah, and of course we're seeing that. We're seeing trees down. We're seeing the effects of that as we're getting out there and starting to assess the damage. We're seeing that for sure.
Trees flooding. A lot of people don't have power. So we'll see exactly what the damage is as the day goes on.
Okay, all right. Well, I want to go ahead and point out all information on OrlandoSentinel.com is available for free, storm-related. We are out there. We're taking a look right now and getting stories as we have them, getting information as we get it, and we'll get it up online as soon as we get it in here. So please go ahead and keep an eye on that. Also, on our social media feeds, go ahead and send in questions. We are monitoring that still live, and we'll answer that even in real time right now. And if we don't have an answer, we'll get it onto OrlandoSentinel.com, and we'll do our best right now to get everything we can to you. I'm going to go ahead and shift up. We're going to go out into the field. We have Paul Brinkman. He was in a tourism corridor last evening, and he's still out there, and we're going to touch base with him and see how things are. Hey, Paul, how are you?
I'm good. It's a little windy out here, so I hope you can hear me. I'm out here on I-Drive, and there's a lot of people walking and a lot of people driving, and the police are actually sweeping up and down occasionally, and they're using their loudspeakers, and they're telling everybody to go back inside because the curfew lasts until 6 p.m. And a lot of the tourists out here, they don't care, or they are claiming they don't speak English, or they weren't aware of it. And but clearly they all just wanted to kind of get out of their hotel room, and even the threat of being arrested didn't seem like it was stopping them. So I'm gonna turn the camera around a little bit and show you there is debris here and there is some damage. We've got sirens coming up the street right now. Actually, you can see.
Certainly can hear it for sure.
What?
It does seem like you said, a lot of people out. It doesn't. Well, not a lot, but at least a few out that they don't seem to mind that. It seems like I guess the sun's shining, so they probably feel they're in the clear.
It's crazy. You know what? Here they come again. We're gonna get this live. They're got their loudspeakers.
Okay, we'll listen in.
Yeah, so you see, they're still doing it. They're telling people they can be arrested. It seems to be having almost no effect on people here, though.
That's interesting.
There's people jogging. There's people walking their dogs. I asked one woman. I said, do you realize there's no businesses open? And she said, oh no, why? And I said, because there's a curfew, and it's illegal for businesses to open under a curfew. They either don't understand or they just don't care, and they don't think the police are going to arrest them. So,
okay.
Paul,
we know you spent the evening out there last night. What were conditions out at the tourist area while you were there?
While I was there, it was crazy. The storm was rocking for sure. I couldn't really see anything out of the drive. I did take one look at one point when there was a break in the storm. I didn't see any really severe damage here. I'm gonna turn around here. There's a couple signs up in this direction that are torn up, and there's debris from broken signs, and there's a few light standards that are down, but there's no major damage. There's no roofs gone. I don't even see any windows broken. So I think and the power is like on everywhere here too. So apparently, as far as the tourism area goes, things are pretty good. I think just the big concern is for the police is that there could be down power lines somewhere, and the whole purpose of the curfew is to give the power companies a chance to get out there and find those and fix them. And there's still some danger of debris falling, a tree that's almost falling over, and one more gust can make it come over, yeah.
All right, Paul. Well, you stay safe out there. I know as it looks like the sun's coming out, and it's good news that it seems like, for the most part, have been spared some damage out there in the tourist corridor. Thanks for being here, and stay safe. We'll check in with you later today. Thank you for that. I'm going to go ahead and turn our attention over to our social media. We have Todd Stewart here, and he's following our social media feeds and answering questions in real time or anything that's coming in. We're doing our best. So, Todd, anything we can answer right now?
Yeah, we're getting a lot of questions coming in, even more than we did last night. A couple people, Jose Cedeno and Keith Thompson, asking about Orange County curfew.
Okay.
And I believe that's being lifted at 6 p.m., is that right?
Yeah, is that
6
something?
p.m., and that's still intact as far as we know.
As Paul showed us.
And Seminole County actually just lifted theirs at 11 a.m. So if you live in Seminole, you can go out, walk your dog, do whatever.
Okay, some people are starting to feel a little cabin fever. They can actually get out and take care of that. Okay, any of the other counties, can you give us a touch in on those as well while we're here on that subject?
Osceola and Lake County are still at 6 p.m. as well, and Volusia is under curfew until noon.
Okay, and I know at some point we're going to swing back and talk about, safety. This gets to be that dangerous point of the storm, so we'll touch base on that in a few. I'm going to go ahead and turn our attention back here to Gall. Let's talk about some of those stories that we're hearing coming in now. Now as we're out there and getting an idea, what have we learned so far in this aftermath?
Right, so there was some pretty serious flooding this morning.
Okay.
I know the Orange County Fire Rescue, with some help from the National Guard and some other crews, rescued 149 people from homes in Orla Vista this morning. There was a lot of rain and some sudden flooding over there. It was nothing like what we saw in Hurricane Harvey in Texas. I know that's probably the first image coming to people's minds. It was not like that, but it was still bad enough that people did need to be rescued from their homes, and they were taken to local shelters. So that's 149 people that were rescued from there, and the fire department said that they evacuated about 550 houses. So some of those people were able to leave on their own. They just, it could have, just as a safety precaution, wanted to get them out of there. Some of them had to be rescued, and some just decided that they wanted to stay.
Okay, let's talk about other flooding. Any flooding in the area other than that Orla Vista area?
Yes, there was some in Delaney Park as well. I know our reporter Caitlin Dornbos, who's embedded with an Orlando Fire Department crew, was there this morning sharing some photos of a completely flooded intersection over there.
Okay.
In Kissimmee, we had another reporter who found some flooding in a neighborhood, although where she was precisely, which was near Town and Country, the flooding seemed to stop short of reaching houses. So the streets were not fully passable, but the houses were, for the most part, okay from what she saw. And it's still really early, so everybody is still assessing damage and still sort of seeing what's going on. In Brevard County, there is some flooding as well. And I know the power outages are pretty bad over there. About 85% of homes and businesses are without power right now. And we're not complete, as with everywhere else, crews are still assessing where all the damage is, seeing what they need to do to fix it. So there's no definitive time, unfortunately, for when it would be back on. People are just kind of asking them to be patient. Which
I know at one point they mentioned almost 60% of the state was out of power. Is that still the case at this point?
As of the last update, it was about 62% of customers in the state. So by customers, they mean not necessarily people, but homes and businesses. They don't have an exact count of how many people live in each home and each business, so it's hard to get an exact count of how much of the population is without power, but it's about 62% of accounts.
So quite a bit. Okay.
Exactly.
All right, well, we'll touch base back with you again. I just want to give a quick update. All information on OrlandoSentinel.com, storm-related, is free. We're taking questions here on our social media channel, and as of right now, the storm is a tropical storm. It's moved through the area and off into the north area of Florida and working its way into the upper states there, the southern states, so that's good news for us here. Now it's just the aftermath. I'm going to go ahead and check in with Todd. Let's go ahead and see anything we can answer. Oh, actually, let's stop there for a second. I want to go ahead and actually head out to Krista Toralva. She was actually in Kissimmee. Gall talked about her. Hey, Krista, how are you? So I can see for sure there's some flooding there behind you. What are conditions out there like in Kissimmee?
So we're in Kissimmee. We're in the Town and Country neighborhood. We're off of Mill Slough, and there's some significant flooding. I'm going to turn this around so you can see the flooding.
Oh yeah.
But you know what? People are really in good spirits here. We've seen the kids playing in the water. We talked to some folks who said, this wasn't as bad as Hurricane Charlie, several years ago. They're really in good spirits. There's people that are coming, braving this flooding to check on their family members. But as you can see, it's pretty high up.
Oh yeah, you certainly can see it. And last night you spent time with the Polk County Emergency Operations. Tell me what happened that last evening with that group.
Yeah, so we started getting extremely heavy wind and rains at just about the time that you guys called me. So when we first started, I was outside and getting blown around a little bit, and then right as we started talking, the emergency officials ushered us in real quick. They brought down the shutter boards. They put the building on lockdown. The center did lose power. They were operating on a generator. So it got pretty serious out there. And today, as of today, I think they said that 80% of Polk County is without power. Their hospital, one of their hospitals, also lost power, but they're also being run by a generator, so that's good. Their shelters don't have power, so they're in a pretty serious situation over there in Polk County.
Okay. All right. Well, I want you to be safe out there. Obviously, we can see some serious flooding going on in the neighborhood. You're in Kissimmee, and I'm sure we'll check in with you later at some point during the day. Appreciate you being out there. I'll talk. Okay, let's go ahead and shift over to Todd. Let's go ahead and talk social media. Anything we can answer at this point?
One of the popular questions we started getting as early as 5 o'clock this morning, and being Orlando shouldn't surprise us, when are the theme parks opening? Mm-hmm. And we actually wrote a short story. I posted that in our Facebook feed, but as of now, Disney and most of the theme parks are trying to open up Tuesday. That's what they originally said before the storm.
Okay.
I think they're still doing some damage assessment, so I don't think it's hard and fast, but they're aiming for Tuesday, but could be longer.
Okay, that's good. Anything else we can touch on at this point?
I'm afraid to even mention this, but a couple people have already asking about Hurricane Jose.
Yeah.
And we don't know yet if we're in the track, but it sure looks ominous, kind of hanging out there on the eastern edge.
Right. It almost seems like we're almost like a redo of last week when we started seeing Irma starting to gather steam out there, and it's we've watching that. So yeah, that's certainly one we're going to keep an eye on for sure.
We think we're at least a week away, probably, from anything coming, but let's hope a lot changes in the trajectory between now and then. Yeah,
especially as we're dealing with this aftermath. Let's talk about that. I'm going to turn over here to Annie, because in this aftermath we start getting out. We're seeing those, limbs down, possible power lines down. And, this is a time where it could be really dangerous. Let's talk about how people can, keep their wits about them right now.
Well, first of all, if you're one of the many people who does not have power right now, and you're one of the lucky people who has a generator, don't use it inside, because you can die or get really sick from carbon monoxide poisoning. So that's an important thing. And if you have like a gas or charcoal grill, don't use that inside either. If you want to heat up your soup that you stocked up on during the past week, make sure that you heat it up outside.
Okay,
not inside.
That's good advice. And as far as power lines, things like that, that's pretty obvious. Don't go into standing water. Make sure that you're aware of if power lines are down. Right. If you're walking around, or even if you're driving around outside, don't walk through water, because there could be power lines, there could be other debris, it could be a lot deeper than it looks, and you just don't know what's down there if you're walking around or even if you're driving around. So that's something to be careful of. Another thing is our sister paper, the South Florida Sun Sentinel, did a review of more than 200 hurricane-related deaths in Florida in 2004 and 2005, which is the last time that we, before 2016, that we had a major hurricane make landfall here. And they showed that more people died in the cleanup and the aftermath than during the actual storm. And one of the biggest ways that people died, and it sounds like common sense, but from slip and fall type deaths, like falling from a ladder or falling from the roof. That was one of the most common ways that people died cleaning up after the storm. So if you have damage on your roof, or you need to go up in a ladder for some reason, be really careful. Yeah, this is a time where, make it through the storm and have an unfortunate accident. It just seems kind of a hard time to deal with that, and, keep your wits about yourself. And obviously, as these tree limbs are down, chainsaws are going to be out, so obviously that's another very serious danger there, so, be careful with those as well. That's something, keep your mind up on that one.
And if you are driving around now that the curfew is starting to lift in some counties, and if you come across a light that's out, and you very well might, make sure that you come to a complete stop and treat it as like a four-way or an all-way stop.
Okay, all right, good advice. Appreciate that. So, Gal, let's go ahead and make a quick update one more time as far as where the storm is and what it's doing.
Sure. So the storm the main part of it is out of this region. It's about 70 miles east of Tallahassee right now.
Okay.
It's weakened to a tropical storm, no longer a hurricane. That does not mean that conditions are great here. In Orlando, we're still seeing gusts of about 50 miles an hour as of roughly half an hour to an hour ago. That's 40 miles an hour gusts in Kissimmee, 50 in Sanford and Claremont, and 40 in Brevard. So if you do need to repair something, maybe hold off getting on a ladder until the winds die down a little bit more, which should be later this afternoon to tonight.
Okay. Let's start getting back to somewhat normal at that point.
Somewhat more normal, yes.
Okay. All right, Todd, let's go ahead and touch base one more time with social media. Anything we could answer at this point?
This kind of dovetails nicely with what Annie was just talking about. Sasha Crespo actually evacuated the state. God bless you, doing the right thing there. Wants to know if it's safe to drive back to Florida. And as you just reported, it's like the storm is still very much in the northern part of the state. Curfews are still in effect for part of our region, definitely part of the northern Florida. So I would say, if it's an option to stay away, I would stay away another day because northern Florida is still in it.
Yeah, you're right, the storm. And then also, northern Florida, it's moving through Florida, so it could end up in those southern states, and they're going to have tropical storm winds going up to there as well. So,
if you took the time to evacuate, let's make sure you don't leave before it's safe.
Okay, that's good point. All right, so go ahead and go to OrlandoSentinel.com. As I mentioned, all storm information on our site is free right now. We are keeping it up to date. We are out there getting that information to you, so go ahead and use that. Keep on our social media feeds. We'll get information out to you there as well. And also, we're going to be back here at 2:15 for our next live update. In the meantime, just go ahead and keep an eye on our site. For the Orlando Sentinel, I'm Rich Pope.